Hi, I'm Alan, and I'm going to tell you what a ragdoll had to do with vaccinations.
I'm Chelsea, and I'm going to take you right up the creek.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to tell you a story about one of the most famous queens in the world, what she's not known for.
What do all of these have to do with the word Anne or the name Annie? Find out in this week's episode of History Bluffs. Hello and welcome to History Bluffs. It's where truth is stranger than fiction. And now I want to welcome to the show, it's your host, it's Carlos. Wait there. No, that's Alan. That's Carlos right there.
You're fired, Alan. I'm the host.
What? Oh, man!
Alan's out.
You know you're going to be a historian and the host? That's unethical as hell.
Oh,
True.
No.
That is true.
Okay.
It would be.
No, that's not how we play things here on History Bluffs. We have a separate host on History Bluffs, as is common for most game shows, where the host is not a contestant. All right. Thank you for joining us here on History Bluffs. Oh, see that. Some people call me Space Cowboy, but you can call me Carlos.
Oh,
And joining us today, first of all, joining us today is our tech person, Adam. Give it up for Adam. Yay.
Hey, I'm the tech guy. And as the tech guy, it is my responsibility to tell you, Carlos, you may need to back off the heat of your mic just a little bit. You're cracking up a little bit. We want to make sure. I don't. Yeah, just bring that heat down a little bit on the volume boost, and you'll sound beautiful.
It's hard. It's hard to keep this heat down.
You're hot.
Smoking.
I won't fight you on that.
Love. All right. Yes, enough banter. Tech person, Adam. Let's talk about what the game show is. All right. 3 armchair historians, 1, 2, and 3, will be given a single topic. They're going to tell you a story from history about that topic. Now, 2 of them will be telling you a factual story that really happened, and 1 will be making the whole thing up. We call them the bluff.
Whoa. That is in the name of the show. It's the name of the show.
All right, now before we get started with the game, let's meet these historians and get to know a little bit about them. Let's start with Alan. Alan, how the heck are you?
I'm doing quite well, Carlos. How are things up in Chicago?
Things are great in Chicago. It is 76 degrees today here. I heard
That's awesome.
that it's a little chilly in Orlando, that it's an 80 degrees chill.
Yeah, it's now that the sun's down, it's in the high 70s, I think. But yeah, we're doing much better now that it's October.
Mm-hmm.
Sun's down, guns down. All right. So speaking of October means Halloween, and Halloween means costumes. What historical figure from history, if you could have a custom-made costume of any historical figure, which person would you dress up as for Halloween?
A custom-made costume of any historical figure?
Yes. There's no expense.
Wow.
Good Lord.
The late John Hammond would say.
I don't know. King George.
Which one?
He looked good.
The original, or at least the one that we revolted against.
Okay. Oh, King George. Is that King George the Third? I think
it
it
was
might
the third.
be. I should know. I'm the host of a history game.
I lost track.
Thank you very much. I've retained my job. Yay. All right. Thank you very much, Adam. Next up, we have Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea.
Hello.
How are you doing? Chelsea. You're also in Orlando, so assume that you have the same weather conditions as Al.
Long sleeve day for us over here in Orlando.
Boom. Now, Chelsea, same question for you. If you could dress up as any historical figure from history, who would you dress up as?
Well, I'm going to go a little literal figure. Let's do Statue of Liberty. That could be pretty cool.
Statue of Liberty. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, you'd have to hold your arm up the whole time, though. Wouldn't it get tiring?
I
Or
think
will
you
you
can
have an
switch off.
apparatus?
You can switch off. I think that's
You
allowed.
can't switch off, and she
Sure.
holds one arm up. She holds one arm up. That's the arm.
All right.
If you switch the arms, then you're in a weird alternate universe.
That's how you know
All right.
you're cruising the multiverse. Wrong arm.
Oh boy. All right, Chris. Hello, Chris. Also
Hello.
from we got a lot of votes now. So, we already know the weather, Chris. We don't need to hear you tell us about the weather. What we need to hear is what costume you would choose from history.
I would choose that guy in the background, which is
That guy in the background.
yes, like he's always the guy, like he's like pointing up and when something happens or he's going like this. So, yeah, so I would choose the guy in the background because I could blend in basically at any party, no matter what the theme, I would fit right in.
It's pretty clever. I think
I know that every costume would fit in at every party, though.
I'm pretty sure that's Danny Trejo. Honestly, that's
Oh, there you go.
he's in every movie.
Yeah, or Samuel L. Jackson. You're like, if you're just the guy in the background in Pompeii pointing at the volcano erupting, you wouldn't fit everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, historians, for answering my question. This will be very helpful with my research. Now, let's get back to the game. All right. So what we're going to do is find out our topic for tonight. We don't even know what our topic is yet. Adam, what's our topic?
The topic is Anne or Anne, a name.
That's Anne. That's not Annie. That's Anne.
Okay, that's Anne. That's fine.
Anne, are you okay? Are you okay?
All
Are you
right.
okay?
All right, you're the host. It's Anne.
I'm the host, and also it's spelled Anne. So
Okay.
that's why
I can change it. I can.
it would be ANN. Are you changing the topic during the time of the game?
I don't know.
Because you
Sure.
shouldn't.
Oh! Look at that! I did it.
Oh boy. Okay, historian.
Now it's Anne. I don't know.
Whatever you thought it was, scratch it. Come up with 3 new things. The historians were given the topic Anne, ANNE, prior to the show, and have been crafting their stories for tonight for Anne, ANNE, through either research or bluffs and fantasy. All right. So 2 of our historians will be telling something very factual and actual. They may embellish just a little bit, add a little pepper, a little fun, but for the most part, they will be telling a factual story from history. But one of our historians will be bluffing, which means they're going to be telling a lot of bluff with a little bit of truth just to make it seem legitimate, because the best bluffs are covered with little bits of truth.
Are you saying that? You're describing a rule set for this game show?
I am. You have a list of rules that I can refer to as I do this?
You heard it. He asked for it. It's a whole set of historian rules. We're gonna put them up on the screen.
Oh, yay. All right, the historians have been inspired by the topic. The true stories are factual, the bluff story is fictional, and no audience help is allowed. What does that mean? Audience members at home, if you happen to know that that person is absolutely lying, I'm an expert at Anne's or Annie's, and I know that is a lie, don't spoil it for the rest of us. And everyone, certainly don't fact check these things on Google. We just want you to guess. Use your mind, use your imagination to speculate as to who you think is the bluff and why, and feel free to share those speculations, those non-Google speculations, in the comment sections of wherever you are watching this. Even if it's not live, you never know, we may reply and say hi. All right. So let's begin now, and then we're also going to ask you, the audience members, at the end of the game to tell us who you think is the bluff, and if you win, then you win, and you have the satisfaction of that. This game is divided into 3 rounds, and each of our historians is going to be able to say a piece of their story every round. So they'll have 3 chances to convey their story. And look, it's the round the later 5,000. Now we keep track of where everyone is in telling their story. Speaking of the roundelator, I think it's time for round one. Do we have a card for that, Adam?
Let's get into round number 1. Wow, here we are. This is it.
All right, in round one, we're going to start with, you know what? I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to start with Chelsea. Chelsea, you are going to go first. You are going to have 75 seconds on the clock to tell us the first part of your story. So, Chelsea, when you hear the gong, you may begin.
We're going to talk about one of my favorite shows, Schitt's Creek. If you don't know what this is, you really need to watch it. It's won 9 Emmys and at the 72nd Primetime Emmy Awards. It was their final season. They swept all 7 major comedy awards. The first time a comedy or drama series received all of them. So it's a riches to rags stories about a socialite, famous, very wealthy family of 4 who lives in New York in a mansion, and they get into some legal trouble because of a bad business buddy, and they have to move to a town in the middle of nowhere called Schitt's Creek. So this is a star-studded cast. It was created by Eugene Levy, who is the dad in American Pie, big bushy eyebrows, very famous. His son Dan, who actually came up with this concept. And they had to have Catherine O'Hara in it, who played Moira, the mother, and from Home Alone. And somebody named Anne, but who's she?
Who is she? Wait, what? The time ran out, so now we don't know who she is. We're hanging on this clip here, waiting to find out who this Ann person is. Because there's an Ann in the show, apparently, unless Chelsea's the bluff. Chris, what do you think? Do you think Ann is real?
I think that Chelsea so far is on the right track. Schitt's Creek is a very funny show. Eugene Levy is the star of it with Catherine O'Hara. They're phenomenal. It was written by Dan Levy. I know all of that is to be true. And I'm waiting to see where she goes with the Anne in the story because it is the great cliffhanger that she left us with.
Okay. Alan, what do you think? Do you think this Anne's real, or has Chelsea gone up this creek without a paddle?
Wouldn't it be funny if that was the only bluff? Because we know Eugene Levy's in Schitt's Creek with Catherine O'Hara. So it's like, no, Catherine O'Hara never played a woman named Anne, you idiots. I made it up. In her entire career, there wasn't even a sketch on SCTV where she played a woman named Anne. Chelsea looked it up and she made sure that was an absolute bluff. I think that would be absolutely brilliant if that's what she did.
Oh, respect from Alan and Chelsea. Very cool. Very cool. Nice to see our historians respecting each other's bluff. All right, well, moving on to Chris. Chris, it's your turn in round one. You're going to have 75 seconds on the clock to begin telling your tale while we try to determine if it's fictional or factual. Chris, when you hear the gong.
There it is. So my story is about Anne Boleyn, who, as some of you may know, recognize the name, the second of the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And she's the most famous one because she was beheaded by him, by his men. But the story is not about her beheading. The story, and she's known for a lot of things. She's known for being beheaded. She's known because she's actually the mother of Queen Elizabeth I, probably the most famous Queen of England of all time. Elizabeth I, of course, brought in the Elizabethan era later in the 16th century. But I'm not going to talk about that either. This is about Anne Boleyn and her before Henry, before she got married to Henry and eventually beheaded, before she was in the court of Henry's first wife. She was actually a young socialite that was sent over to France. And in the court of France, it's about something that she actually created that to this day is one of the most popular sports in England that she created while she was in France. And I'm going to talk about what it is in round number 2.
here. Anne Boleyn. She created a sport. Anne Boleyn. She made bowling. All right. Get it out, everyone. You can all go home. But it is funny, though. It's funny that King Henry VIII, like, had to go through so many wives to try to produce a male heir, even though he pretty much got it great on the first shot with Elizabeth. The irony of ironies. All right. Chelsea, what do you think about Chris's tale? Is it tall or is it totally true?
I feel like Chris is trying to distract us with a bunch of like, oh, all these historical things did happen, but we're not going to talk about any of those. So I feel like you're carrying the bluff.
All right. Chris is not talking about sitcoms, so to Chelsea, that's sus. Alan, what about you?
Chelsea just accused Chris of literally what she did herself. We know that there's a Eugene Levy. We know that there's a Anne Boleyn. These are all facts. We've yet to get to a bluff. This is what I'm waiting on.
Carlos, I need to chime in too, because I always like to play with the banners and try to customize them to the various things. But like I start trying to customize Chris's, and he's like, she got her head chopped off, but that's not what that's about. And then he says she was the mother of Queen Elizabeth, and so I start typing in. He said, but that's not what that's about. So I'm like, Chris, I'm not. You're just gonna get Anne. You're just gonna get straight Anne, because I don't know what your story's about. Yeah, I just want to let you know that. Just had to get that out. That's all. Okay. That's all.
Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay?
We'll work with that.
All right. Wonderful. We have one more person to listen to in round 3. It's the one that's been, Alan did off the bluff test too much, possibly. We'll find out right now when Alan, it's his 75 seconds on the clock, when he begins to tell his tale. Begin when you hear the gong.
So my story is about Raggedy Ann. Now, Raggedy Ann, also, by the way, spelled with no E at the end, since we were such sticklers about what the title of our subject is today.
Oh, man.
But don't worry, because you are probably all familiar with Raggedy Ann. And again, I'm going to start off episode 1 here with just the facts. We know who Raggedy Ann is. It's a red-haired rag doll. But there is a legend here, and I will get into it. This might be the bluff. Johnny Gruelle, his daughter, came downstairs from an attic, the attic of their home, of course, and brought a rag doll which actually had no face on it. So they got together and they drew a face on the rag doll, and eventually Raggedy Ann would be born from this rag doll design, and the rag doll would eventually take on the likeness of Johnny's daughter. Now, here's a sad part of the tale, is that eventually, a few years later, she actually dies, and I'm going to tell you how the young girl died.
Wow.
That's a horrible cliffhanger.
That's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger, and I queued up applause for a girl dying. That's not cool.
That's not cool.
It's very awkward.
Shame on you, Adam.
It was already queued.
And your spelling of Raggedy was wrong. You're failing on multiple fronts.
Multiple fronts. I'll work on it.
Okay.
Just wait till round 2. I'll be amazing.
Speaking of failing on multiple fronts, is Alan failing on the truth? Chelsea, what do you?
At first, I'm like, oh, I think he's actually telling the truth, because he really had to look this up. I don't know that Alan really knew before researching if there was an E on the end or not. So it made me believe that it was probably true. But then and then the girl died. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, here's where things could go sideways.
Ooh. Dang, I think they did go sideways. Chris, where do you think things went sideways?
I'm waiting for first of all the name Johnny Gruelle or whatever. He said it like nonchalantly as if we're supposed to know who that is, and then he said he mentions that she comes down from the attic in their house as opposed to the attic where else, But I really want to hear, is he going to say this is coming from their house is in the San Fernando Valley, because I thought of Frankie Valley when he kept saying ragdoll over and over and over again. I was thinking of the Four Seasons.
You don't know Johnny?
Yeah.
Oh boy, Four Seasons indeed. You're taking Chris on getting that from your story, whether it's true or not. And that brings us to the end of round one. What? Look, the roundelator is lit up for the first section. So now we go to the middle of this centipede when Adam takes us to round two.
Here we go. The roundulator.
Okay. Roundulator 5000 has brought us to round two where the points are worth double of zero. So still zero, but we are going to shift it around in terms of who goes first. And in this round, Chris, you will have the honor of going first. But Chris, and every other historian, you don't get 75 seconds anymore. Forget that. That's being chopped down. Okay, we're bringing you only 60 seconds, one sole minute to tell us the middle part of your story. Chris, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You hear the gong go.
All right, so interestingly, Carlos made a reference at the end of my first round to bowling, playing off of Anne Boleyn's last name. However, that is exactly what we're talking about, except it's not called bowling. It's called lawn bowls, and it's one of the most popular sports. And very much like any American, we mispronounce it. We call it lawn bowling, and the English get upset at us. It's not lawn bowling, it's lawn bowls. If you think about the English sports that are big, there's cricket, there is football, what we call soccer, and the English shake their heads and say, no, you get that wrong too. And there is lawn bowling, of course, there's tennis, but lawn bowls, exactly. That's correct, Adam. Lawn bowls was created by Anne Boleyn when she was in the court in France as young in life. But here's where it gets wild. The reason that she created this game, or how she named the game, is one of the things that led to her getting her head chopped off. I'll tell you about that in round three.
Oh no, Alan, is Chris telling us the truth about lawn bowls, or is this a bluff he created after smoking some bowls? Which one is it?
We would have known by now that bowling was named after Anne Boleyn. I don't think that this is accurate at all. And the fact that she's somehow alluding to, oh, wouldn't it be funny if you threw someone's head down a lane to knock down some things? That would be crazy. That would be funny to cut someone's head off. That's never gonna be me.
Irony.
Yeah,
irony.
Irony.
I mean, it would be ironic. Yes, it is irony.
Irony.
It's made up. I said none of what he said. I said none of that.
That's the subtext.
Are you inserting bluff into Chris's story? We can't have that.
Smells a little bluffy.
Oh boy, Alan's pulling the politic. Chelsea, what do you think?
I just love that Chris took a full minute to say it was kind of like bowling. That's all we got.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for that.
There it is.
All right. Okay. Speaking of bowling, we're going to keep bowling on through with our next.
Oh, that's premature.
Alan, what the heck?
Did my time start?
No, it
10
is not.
seconds ago? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it right now. Yeah, you only
Told
have
you,
5 seconds left. No.
Oh.
Alan, you're going to have 60 full seconds on the clock, right, Adam? Alan's going to have 60
That's correct.
seconds.
60 seconds in round two.
Full minute to continue your story of Raggedy Ann. Hopefully, it'll be spelled right this time. You can begin when you hear the gong.
So the daughter of Johnny Gruelle is Marcella Gruelle. And yes, she did die tragically at the young age of 13. And there were some controversies about the origins of what I'm about to say. But I will say that this is the fact, and I'm bluffing. But the fact is, she actually died shortly after receiving a vaccination that was mandatory at her school. She was vaccinated for smallpox. And it is believed that her vaccination was infected and she died following the vaccination. Now, there's also some debate as if the vaccination even the infected vaccination was responsible for her death. But regardless, Raggedy Ann, which was designed in remembrance of the daughter, became the face of the anti-vax movement.
Oh boy. We're getting crazy here. Chelsea, is Alan the bluffer or is Alan a truther?
I think Alan just told us he was the bluffer.
It's true. He said it out loud.
I said it's possible.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Evidence. I rest my case, Your Honor. Chris, what do you think about Alan's story so far?
I think Alan. So unlike Alan, I'm actually going to talk about what he said. I'm not going to make up things about what he could have said. So Alan is not. He's talking about an anti-vax position, and he's doing it in an anti-facts way. Because he's just, as Chelsea astutely pointed out, he said, "Oh, I could be the bluff," which is a classic bluff technique to possibly say you're the bluff, make us think, "Oh, maybe he's not bluffing because he said it's a bluff."
Guilty.
Wow, that makes perfect sense.
Alan may be playing three-dimensional chess as far as we know, but what we do know for sure is that it's Chelsea's turn to speak in round two. Chelsea, you will also have 1 minute to continue telling your story about Ann from Schitt's Creek, whoever this Ann may be. So when you hear the gong, begin.
Okay, so we've got star-studded cast of Schitt's Creek. Who's going to play the daughter, Alexis Rose? Hundreds of actresses were seen for this character, but they had such a hard time finding the right person because they had a hard time finding a socialite character that was actually likable and down to earth. So they actually did stumble upon Annie Murphy. She came in dressed down, hair in a messy bun, had this audition. Dan called Eugene and said, "Dad, I finally found Alexis." And it was huge. They had already had a pilot of Schitt's Creek, but that actress couldn't be in the full episode. The actress in the pilot actually had blonde hair. And Eugene Levy said, "No, I don't think so. She's got brown hair. I don't want her." So Annie actually had to come back and read for Stevie. Ultimately got Alexis, but that almost didn't even happen.
Oh, another cliffhanger. Dang it, Chelsea. You're so good at the cliffhanger. Okay. It's such a captivating tale. I forgot that it might be a bluff. Chris, what do you think?
I think I should say to Chelsea, pot, kettle, kettle, pot. She just spent an entire round telling us what she's not going to tell us by saying, "Oh, this almost didn't happen." And so basically it was a big MacGuffin, just like she accused me in the first round.
Oh, man.
I just feel like MacGuffin may be your word of the day, Chris.
I think it is.
I'll take one egg MacGuffin, please.
Give yourself a drum roll.
There, the MacGuffin. The McMacGuffin.
All right, Alan, what do you think about Chelsea's continuing tale of the Levy family fortune?
So this has nothing to do with Catherine O'Hara playing someone named Ann? I feel lied to.
Are you even paying attention, Alan?
This is what you said in the first round.
She did. We need a listening workshop for Alan.
All right, fine.
You need to take notes like I do, okay?
Get your poofy pen.
Say that.
Would you like me to send one of these, Alan, so you can take some notes?
I got my golf pencil right here.
There's the problem.
Alan, you're putting a lot of fake news into the other people's narrative. I'm asking them not. That's Fox, all right? Okay, this isn't Fox, but what this is the end of round two, which takes us to the next round and final round, which is...
round number 3.
Round number 3, where the points still was with the reporters beginning with 0. Now, audience members, if you're watching at home, please remember you can guess to your heart's content. If you think you know who the bluff is, please let us know who you think it is, and also let us know why. Even though this isn't a live broadcast, again, we may still reply and say hello and tell you did a good job if you end up winning. Now, we are in round 3, where we only have 45 seconds on the clock, and every person has to finish their story in 45 seconds or less. And no cliffhangers. I'm looking at you, Chelsea. No more cliffhangers. This is the end of the clip, and you gotta give us the whole dish right now. But we're going to start this round with Alan, where he's going to finish the tale of Raggedy Ann. When you hear the go.
Okay, so the many anti-vaxxers have a misnomer in that Raggedy Ann was designed to be the face of the anti-vax movement. In fact, that was designed following the untimely death of Johnny's daughter. But in fact, it was designed prior to her death, and in fact, with his daughter while she was still alive. So it was never the intention for it to be the face of the anti-vax movement, but it is reasonable to believe that since Johnny did lose his daughter at the age of 13, and that it is quite possible that she did die as a result of vaccination, that Johnny Gruelle, the writer of the Raggedy Ann and Andy books, was not supportive of vaccinations.
Check out. Oh boy. Chelsea, Chris, Alan's story is very dark. Maybe he's trying to hide a bluff in the darkness. What say you, Chris?
I think it's very interesting that, as once again, Alan did say that the doll was not intended to be the face of the poor girl that passed away at the age of 13, tragically. However, he said in round 1, when she came downstairs from the attic, the doll didn't have a face. Boom! He tripped himself up with his own words.
Oh boy, Alan, you've been trying to say people said things that they didn't, and now Chris is catching you on something that you did say. Oh boy, Chelsea, what do you think?
Yeah, he's totally said last time that the doll was, drew on it to look like the daughter, and then it was, really to resemble her after she died, and then it was before, and I feel like the timelines. We're backtracking.
Also, how do you draw a face on a bunch of rags, Alan?
That's true.
What crafts did they use, Alan?
Made of rags. All right. Oh, I'm so upset now. Chelsea is in round 3, 45 seconds. No cliffhangers now. You can go when you hear the gong.
Okay, so yes, Annie Murphy almost didn't get the part of Alexis Rose. She was actually in LA for pilot season because she's from Canada and went on a bunch of different auditions, got really close to some, but the one she just bombed, and she said she was just crying for days, and she was like, I'm quitting, I'm done, I cannot do this, I've been out of work for 2 years. Her husband throws her in the car crying, takes her to the ocean, throws her into the ocean in her underwear, and he says, I am baptizing you right now. She gets the call for Schitt's Creek audition the next day after reading for Alexis and Stevie. Dan convinces his dad, hello, we'll take her to a hair salon. We'll make her blonde. She's Alexis Rose.
Oh, wait, so she wasn't blonde, and they wanted to make her blonde, even though both Dan and his father have dark hair, and Catherine O'Hara, I mean, she's not black hair, but she's not blonde, so why were they so obsessed about blondness?
You gotta wonder.
Were you paying attention to round 2?
Okay.
The original actress in the pilot, she was blonde. Right, Chelsea?
Would you like a pen too, Carlos, to take down notes?
Chelsea, was I right? Was I right, Chelsea? The original actress in the pilot was blonde, and that she had to match her hair.
You talk too much smack about your golf pencil, Alan, because you were correct.
See? You got to get one of these, Carlos.
Oh. He did listen once, at least.
Once, that one time. It's on tape. It's on tape.
By my own petard. Okay. All right. Well, Alan, you seem to be in defense of Chelsea's story. So what do you think, Chris?
I give her credit for calling out the host on his bluff attempt. But I think it's interesting. I'm a little skeptical of the whole christening thing. That sounds very made for TV movie kind of stuff moment. But it generally speaking, it kind of tracks. I'm gonna have to think hard and fast about this one because I'm not sure which of those two is bluffing.
Okay, wonderful. So we've heard from Alan. We've heard from Chelsea. There's one more person to hear from before it's time to figure out who the history bluff is, and that is Chris. Chris, you will have 45 seconds on the clock to complete your story. It's your last chance to convince us that you're not the bluff. And here the gong begins.
Okay, so when Anne Boleyn, and it's not named Lawn Bowling, it's Lawn Bowls, but she named it Lawn Bowls because when she was in the court in France, before she went to Henry VIII's court, she fell in love with this guy named John Bowles, Boles, and that was her little tribute to him. And it's kind of like it was this inside thing between the two of them. Later in life, she goes back to England. She goes into when Henry is married to Catherine of Aragon, and she becomes his, in his court, and he likes her. And then later he finds out about the Bowles, John Bowles guy, and how much she loves bowling, this Lawn Bowl stuff. And then that's part of the reason why he trumped up these charges about adultery and had her beheaded. Jealous.
I should have you beheaded for going over the time, but I won't. But maybe your fellow historians will. Chelsea, what do you think about Chris's story?
I'm mad that we wasted so much of round 2 when there was so much happening in round 3. I wanted to hear a little more detail there. And
Really yada yada round 2, Chris. Alan, what do you think?
I like Chris's thought process here. He was like, I'm going to bluff today. And it's Anne. Okay, Anne Boleyn. How about if Anne Boleyn created Lawn Bowlin, and that's my time.
And then a guy she met who has the last name also with bowl in it is actually who she named.
Exactly.
It's not called bowling.
Okay.
That's good. It's good.
Oh, Chris. Okay, we've heard from all three. In a second, we're going to go through each of you to find out who you think the bluff is. Before we do, just audience members, if you haven't done so already, please, now in the comment section, let us know who you think the bluff is and why. We'll read it and maybe we'll comment back or something. Who knows? All right. Chelsea, who do you think the bluff is? Alan or Chris?
I'm going Alan and his little pencil. Sorry.
Not the size of a pencil.
It's not.
It's the size of a pencil. Okay.
No, it's how you write it.
But he's not good with the second. He's not good with second part parables.
Okay. All right.
Not the size of a pencil. It's how you bluff with it. Chris, who do you think the bluff is? Alan or Chelsea?
Oh man, the Annie Murphy story is so made for TV movie that it's almost unbelievable. But I still can't get over Alan's tripping up over facts that the doll didn't have a face, and then it had a face. It was not designed about the girl. Then it was designed about the girl. I'm going Alan as bluff.
Wow.
Oh boy, 2 for Alan. Great googly moogly. That leaves. Who does that leave?
It leaves me. You just mentioned my name.
Because we already know he's the bluff. It's like, well, let's just call it.
Keeping it shut here at this point, Alan. This is just courtesy, Alan. Who do you think the bluff is?
So, despite Chelsea taking every opportunity to insult me, and the fact that I don't know all of the cast members that don't have previous careers on Schitt's Creek, so I don't know if I can confirm there even being a cast member named Anne in the cast. So I'm going with the lawn bowling and bowling.
Wow. There it is.
All right. So everyone said Alan, and Alan says Chris. So if Chelsea's the bluff, she wins, and that would be 2 weeks in a row. Or are these
Deja
in
vu.
order?
Yeah, it's repetitive.
Yeah, it would be repetitive.
It would.
Okay. But you know what? Now it's time to figure out who the bluff is. So I'm going to go away, Adam, and you can take it away.
You got it, Carlos. I'm going to line up our prospective bluffers, and we're going to find out, finally, was your bluff for this episode about Anne, was it Alan? Or was it Chelsea? Or could it have been Chris? I and I alone have the information. Behold, the bluff the whole time, it was Chris!
No.
It's
Lawn bowling.
What?
I am the winner.
That's true. Alan wins. He's the only one who guessed the bluff.
How, Chelsea? How is Alan the only one that guessed that the lady who was named Bowling invented bowling?
It's not called bowling.
I will tell you why. Horrible story structure. One who's going all over the place, and another who takes a full act to say the word bowling, but it's not bowling.
Oh, it's because of your delivery, Chris, that saved you. And Alan, because Alan's the only one that correctly selected the bluff, Alan is the game show winner.
Well done, Alan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Along with any of audience members who also chose Chris, which is probably all of them. So you're.
For the record, I love how Alan only picked me because he knows nothing about Annie Murphy.
That could be. Could be.
True. No, that's only part of it.
You know what? But this has been another fun game of history bluffs. All right, guys, tune in next time. The topic is brand new, and another bluff tries to fool us all. Everyone, we'll be here same bat time, same bat channel, YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. Make sure to check us out. Tell your friends, and leave a comment, say hi or bye. Adam, take it away.
You got it, Carlos. This has been History Bluffs. Like he said, like and subscribe. Listen to our podcast where you get your podcasts, and we'll see you